Question number 1. Satan's action is best described as what? So if we read over the passage, the gist of this passage is that Satan is climbing into God's fold, which is a metaphor for God's church, which you can see from the last 2 lines. Satan climbs in like a wolf or a thief. The passage compares him to a thief, and then in the next to last line, it calls him the first grand thief. Looking at the answers, we can immediately rule out B, consecration, because consecration refers to setting something aside for a special, usually religious purpose, and Satan definitely isn't doing that. Going back to A, usurpation, this might seem like a good answer because the passage is referring to Satan as a thief, and usurpation means to take something by force, usually power. However, if we look carefully in this passage, Satan doesn't actually take anything here. This passage has to do with his breaking in, not the actual taking of something. So cross out A as well. C, dream. There's no indication that Satan is dreaming. D, betrayal. While what Satan is doing might be considered betrayal, we don't know that specifically from this passage, so betrayal isn't a good answer here. And that brings us to E, trespass. We see that due entrance he disdained, and he overleaped the boundary to get into God's fold, or place where the sheep are kept. He's a thief, and he is compared to a prowling wolf who leaps over a fence, or a thief who climbs in a window. So, trespass is definitely the best answer here. Question number 2, in line 5, perplexed is best interpreted to mean what? First of all, the basic meaning of perplex, when it's used as a verb, as it is in this sentence, is to cause to be puzzled or confused or to hamper with complications. And we want to know what it means in this context. So let's back up and get the context for these lines. Now to the ascent of that steep savage hill Satan had journeyed on, pensive and slow, but further way found none, so thick entwined as one continued brake, the undergrowth of shrubs and tangling bushes had perplexed all path of man or beast that passed that way. This is telling us that the undergrowth has perplexed all path of man or beast. Satan is traveling, and then he comes to a place where he can't find another way forward because this undergrowth has perplexed the path. So the path is what is perplexed here, and it's perplexed by all this undergrowth, which means dense shrubbery and plants. So taking a look at the choices that we have, A, endangered. You might think this sounds good. Maybe the path has been made dangerous by the undergrowth, but that's not really what endangered means. Endangered implies that the path itself is in danger or at risk rather than the travelers on the path, and that doesn't really make sense. So A is incorrect. B, questioned. No, the path is not being questioned by anyone. C, complicated. The word complicated, if you use it as a verb, means made difficult or complex, and that is certainly what is happening here. The undergrowth has made the path difficult. Satan can't find a way to go any farther. This fits in with what we know of the basic definition of perplexed, too. So C, complicated, is a good answer. D, discovered. No, perplexed doesn't mean discovered, and anyway, it says that Satan further way found none. Satan can't find a way forward, so the path isn't discovered. Cross out D. E, widened. Perplexed doesn't mean widened either, and we have the same problem as we do with D. Satan can't find a way forward, and if the path were widened, he probably would be able to go forward. So eliminate E as well, and the answer is C, complicated. Question number 3. According to the passage, why does Satan not enter the garden by the gate? Looking at the text, we see that one gate there only was, and that looked east on the other side, which, when the archfelon saw, due entrance he disdained, and in contempt, at one slight bound high o'erleaped all bound of hill or highest wall, and sheer within lights on his feet. Now let's look at the choices. A, the gate is hidden by overgrown shrubbery. It doesn't say that the gate is overgrown, it just says that it looks east on the other side, so A isn't right. B, he fears an encounter with other creatures. There's no hint that Satan is afraid. He disdains, which means he is scornful, and he is in contempt. These are not indicators of fear, so eliminate B. C, he is contemptuous of proper procedures. This sounds good. Satan disdains or is scornful of due entrance. Due entrance means the proper entrance, and in contempt, he leaps over the boundary. So he's contemptuous of the proper procedures for entering the fold. C is a good answer. D, the gate is protected by God. There's nothing to indicate that the gate is protected by God here. E, he is too large to fit through the gate. There are no grounds at all for this answer, so no. And the correct answer is C, he is contemptuous of proper procedures. Question number 4. In which of the following lines does an epic simile begin? An epic simile is just what it sounds like. Epic meaning big or extensive, and simile being a comparison using the words like or as. So an epic simile is an extended or elaborated simile with more than one point of comparison. In poetry, epic similes usually extend through several lines. Looking at the answer choices, A, line 10, at one slight bound, high or leaped all bound. There's no simile here, so cross out A. B, line 4, this begins as one continued break, the undergrowth of shrubs and tangling bushes had perplexed all path of man or beast that passed that way. This isn't really a simile at all, even though the word as is in there. If you know that break in this context means thicket, it's just another archaic word for the undergrowth, then you can see that this isn't a comparison as much as a restatement of an idea. It would be sort of like saying the forest went on as one continuous group of trees. But even if you thought this was a simile, it's not extended or elaborated because there would only be one point of comparison. See line 20, in at the window climbs or the tiles. This line doesn't contain a simile either, so eliminate line 20. D, line 1, now to the ascent of that steep savage hill, no simile here. That leaves us with E, line 12, as when a prowling wolf, and then if we read that all the way through, as when a prowling wolf whom hunger drives to seek new haunt for prey, watching where shepherds pen their flocks at eve, in hurdled coats amid the field secure, leaps o'er the fence with ease into the fold. So this is a simile. Satan is being compared to a wolf, and the simile goes through line 16. It is extended or elaborated with multiple points of comparison. Hunger drives the wolf is watching, and the wolf leaps over the fence. This is an epic simile, and so the correct answer is E, line 12. Question number 5. Which of the following lines contains a play on words? A play on words is a humorous use of a word with more than one meaning or that sounds like another word. And looking at the lines in question, A, line 6, all path of man or beast that passed that way. B, line 10, at one slight bound, high or leaped all bound. C, line 20, in at the window climbs or the tiles. D, line 3, but further way found none, so thick entwined. And E, line 14, watching where shepherds pen their flocks at eve. And if you look over all these lines, you'll see that line 10 contains the only play on words. We have the words bound and bound. Satan makes a slight bound or a leap over the bound or the boundary, so the correct answer here is B, line 10.